The relative study program is envisaged as a guided learning process where a student is put in a learning environment and encouraged to experience the concepts taught in the classroom. The first relative study program tour was to Badami. Mythologically, Badami is said to be the place where Vatapi, the Asura brother of Ilvala, was consumed by Rishi Agastya before he was called out. Once known as Vatapi, Badami is fortified by the sandstone hills on two sides, with the serene Agastya lake in between. Badami was the capital city of the mighty Chalukyas who ruled between 5th and 7th century AD. It's the very same rulers who developed the architectural models of a temple, from the cave form to the celebrated Shikara and Vimana forms.
Yellamani nalkudo udo 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 jogulva satyavani nalkudo udo 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 tangi matangi nalkudo udo 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 tugli bandavani nalkudo
The study tour to Badami was intended to serve two purposes. One, a guided tour of Aihole, Badami and Pattadakal to introduce history of Indian architecture as a part of the curriculum of the second semester, and two, to initiate the students to the skills of observing, measuring, understanding and documenting the scale and proportions as a part of the basic design program. The town of Badami, with its indigenous architecture, served the second purpose. The tour proposed to introduce and illustrate the primary elements that make architecture, like the people, lifestyle and space, activity, facility and the form, anthropometry and the ergonomics, climate and adaptation, material and construction, scale and proportion, culture and history, society and the community. Emphasis was on recording contextual, spontaneous and indigenous architectural elements. The study exposed the students to understanding the construct of both private and shared spaces like the house, cluster of dwellings, community space, street and public square. The documentation is coincidentally precious as the town's days are numbered. The area will soon be cleared to comply with the United Nations World Heritage Monument Preservation Charter.
Badami in Karnataka is a very interesting town for various reasons. It is probably one of the few towns in Karnataka which is almost frozen in time. A lot of traditions, culture, the way of building, a lot of these things look like they have been around for centuries. And for students to be exposed to this kind of an environment, to go and study and live in this kind of environment is probably a wonderful learning experience.
And this is where they can actually see architecture as something which is more circumstantial, which is evolved out of place, and also evolved out of other consequences, events, acts. And this also been a place which is also associated with other nearby places like Pattadakal, Aihole, which has been the cradle of Indian temple architecture.
The trip revolved around two ideas. One was to get a physical familiarity with Chalukyan architecture, which is being taught as part of history this semester, and the other to get an intense hands-on experience on measure drawing. There were 5 groups. Each group was assisted by faculty, and all the students together measured from the scale of residence to the temple square of Badami town.
Badami is located in the foothills of this red sandstone with the bund on this side which forms the Agastya lake. The whole village is set in white with the caves and the temples facing this Agastya lake. The sequence of spaces within the village itself is very interesting. The transition between the public to semi-public to the private houses and the way they live, the activities generated actually on the facade of the street.
We went to Badami at the end of February, and as we had heard a lot about the caves there, we went to look at them. And as we ventured out into the streets, we were just walking around and we observed how different the streets were when compared to the urban cities that we're used to, because they're not very structured and they're very organic. They're not designed as if to accommodate motorable vehicles.
I think only 2 people can stand on the street.
Yeah, it's so narrow.
So
And
narrow.
then you suddenly open up into wide courtyard space.
It was a common gathering space where they came out of the house for everything. Like they were so interactive. All the people lived in harmony without any kind of conflict.
The street was the main utilization at any part of the day.
Yeah.
And as the shadows played a major role, most of the activities that the people carried on were towards the shadow parts.
Yeah, created by the building.
And even the places like jaglis and other courtyard kind of things, and how the people use it for many purposes, like doing puja, chit-chatting,
Cutting vegetables.
many multi-purpose functions.
And they were also designed in a way that accommodated all these activities. They were high enough for people to sit on. They were wide enough for people to wash utensils and clothes, and we found some men shaving over there. And
people were lying down in the evenings.
And in the evenings, it just
chit-chatting.
became like a chit-chat place.
We started from measuring the basic elevations of the houses.
There was a kind of a chaurasta, and that's where we started from. So we measured, like, there's this method, the triangulation method.
But before all this, we started with analyzing how the street traverses along.
Yeah.
Like it has a bend over. So like even if you stand at the starting of the street, till the end, you can see.
And the street had a slope which started from the measuring place.
And we had to learn a lot of new methods to document the slope and how the street bends, because we didn't know any of that before.
On the second day, on the morning, we started walking among the streets, and there were many narrow lanes that we walked through, and suddenly we came to this really big open.
Yeah, it was a straight road. Suddenly there's an it opens towards a courtyard, which had a temple structure there. In front of the temple, there is a huge tree which stands on the podium, and the shadow which comes from that tree, they used to keep the domestic animals like some cows, and they have actual pets there.
And this temple was somehow central to everything that happened in that small square. So in the morning, the temple would be used for a different purpose, and by evening, there would be a totally different set of people there.
Not only tapes are required, but human height is also efficient in the way.
Not only the human height, the other aspects surrounding the building, like it was surrounded by the Badami caves, the rocks, and rest other buildings are surrounded. So we were able to proportion the temple heights with the other buildings and other stuff surrounded by it.
And even at the starting of the street, if you look at the right, you have a great view of the mountain.
Every conversation what they have is related to the caves. So they say when this was developed in that portion of the caves, this building was built. Yeah. So they relate everything to the monument.
While we walk also, we relate to the Badami caves, which is in the backdrop, and we navigate better.
All we had to do was look up and we would see the mountains behind, and we would know where we were.
ಇದು ಕಟ್ಟೆ ಐತಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಯಾರನ್ನು ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಮಣೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಒಂದು ಜಮಖಾನ ಹಾಸಿ ಮಣೆ ಹಾಕಿ ನೆಂಟರು ಬಂದರೆ ಮಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ತೋರಿಸು. ಇದೇ ಪದ್ಧತಿ. ನಾಮಕರಣ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ತೊಟ್ಲ ಇಡಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಸ್ಬೇಕು. ನೆಂಟರು ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಜನ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಳಗೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಗಸಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹಚ್ತೀವಿ, ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಅಗಸಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹಚ್ಚಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹುಳ ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾಗಲ್ಲ.
They had a tulsi plant where they at least used to wash it twice a day, and they had the garden, remember?
Yeah.
And the sunlight used to directly fall only on the plants because of the alignment of the roofs.
You know, the door height keeps decreasing, and you understand like how much a person needs to actually enter the house, because towards the interior you kept bowing down. They said that it would show some respect towards the house.
ಇದು ಬಾಕ್ಲು ಹೆಂಗಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ತಗ್ಗಿ ಬಗ್ಗಿ ಹಿರಿಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹಿಂಗೆ ನಡಿಬಾರ್ದು ಮನುಷ್ಯ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಗ್ಗಿ ಬಗ್ಗಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಬಾಗ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ.
The stove where they cook is like inscribed within the niches of the walls.
ಒಲೆ ತಗ್ಗಂದ್ರೆ ತಗ್ಗಿರ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಲೆ ತಗ್ಗ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಸಮೃದ್ಧಿ. ಇದು ಕೈ ಬಚ್ಚಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಕೈ ಬಚ್ಚಲ ಪಾತ್ರೆ ತಿಕ್ಕೋದು, ಪಾತ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಇವು ಕಣಕ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿ, ಕಣಕ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಾರ, ಹಳೆ ಕಾಲ ಕಣಕ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ದೇವ್ರ ಮನೆ, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಬೆಂಕಿ ಮುಂದೆ ದೇವ್ರು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಗ ಒಂದು ಬಾಗ್ಲು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ, ಕಪ್ ಬಸ್ಸಿ ಚಹಾ ಕುಡಿತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಹಸಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ದು. ಇದು ಚಳಿಗಾಲ ಬೇಸಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಲ್ಲ, ಮಳೆಗಾಲ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಮತ್ತು ಮಳೆ ನಿಂತ ಮೇಲೆ ಸರಿಸಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ತಂಪರಿ ಮನೆ, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ತಂಪು. ಅದು ಮೇಲ್ಮುದ್ದೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಬನಶಂಕರಿ ಜಾತ್ರೆ ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಗೆಲ್ಲ, ಜಾತ್ರೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವಾಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ. ಆ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ರಿ ತಿಂಡಿ ತೀರ್ಥ ಭೇದ ಭಾವ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಚಟ್ನಿ ಪಲ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದೇ ಮನೆಗೆ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಈ ಮನೆಯಾಗಿರ್ತೈತೆ. ಈಗ ಆರ್ಸಿಸಿವಾಗಲೇ ಅವ ಮಗನ ಬೇರೆ, ಸೊಸೆ ಮನೆ ಬೇರೆ, ಅತ್ತೆ ಮನೆ ಬೇರೆ, ಇದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಒಂದೇ ಥರ ರೀ.
These houses were mostly very old, like almost 200 years. Most of them were above 50-60 years old. But there was one house which was only 6 years old, and it was built in the same way as the 100-year-old houses. So the mode of construction still remained the same over the years there.
But most of the houses were mainly built with the locally
available material. All the houses had small openings, though it was a larger space outside. They all had small openings to balance and resist the heat.
They also had small ventilators like skylights for ventilation,
which was made of mud pot,
which was on the top of the roof.
We had to relate each house to the next house, and then to the street, and then to the courtyard. So it was difficult to get all the angles right.
As it is a large area to cover with the measurements, and we first did a proportional drawing which shows all the temples where it is located.
And one interesting to notice was the small lanes which led to the hill and the lake, and the routes also led to the market of that town. The entrance of the complex was not aligned to the center line of the big temple, since the temple complex was only around one compound and had only one plinth level, which automatically made people to understand that the upper plinth level is only meant for worshipping, and the bottom plinth level is only meant for social works.
The rocks and the temples, everything is built with sandstone, which is a huge contrast element to the white plaster houses.
and we learned how to measure vertical spaces for the first time. We had to climb on the roofs.
We were not allowed to climb on the roof because it was very delicate there, and they were afraid of that it might fall because it was made of mud.
One of these challenges gave us a vague idea of how these people even live among such situations, because the climate there is like so high, and even in that climate the construction is done in such a way that the house remains completely cool throughout the day.
ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದ ಮನಿನ ಇದು ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮನ ಮನಿ. ನೀರು ಕುಳ ತಿಂದು ಬೆಳೆದೀವಿ. ಈಗ ದೇವ್ರ ತನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾನ, ಗೊತ್ತೇನ? ಅಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಂದೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ರಿ ದೀಪ ಇದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ದಿಡಿಗಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಡ್ಡು ಕುಂಟಿ ದಿಕ್ಕನ ಹೋಗಿ ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಾಯ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು ಸಣ್ಣರಿದ್ದಾಗ. ಇವು ದಾರಿ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಗಾಂಗ್ಳ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಒಂದು ಲಾಟನ್ ಹಚ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದು ಆರ್ಸಿಸ್ ಮನೆಗೆ ಚಂದ ಅಂತಾರ್ರಿ. ನಮ್ಮಂತ ಅವೇನು ಸಗಣಿ ಮನ್ಯಾಗ ಅದ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಪಾಂಡವ್ರ ಮನ್ಯಾಗ ಅದಾರ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ನಮಗೆ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಪೂಜೆ ದಿವಸ, ದೀಪಾವಳಿಗೆ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲೀನ್ 15 ದಿವ್ಸ ಗಂಟ್ಲೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ತೂತು ಬೀಳುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಮಾಡುದ. ನಾವು ಅದು ಒಡೆದೈತಿ ಬಿಡು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಿಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೆತ್ತಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸುಣ್ಣ ಹಚ್ಚಿದಾಗ ಸಮಾಧಾನ. ಆ ತೂತು ಬಿದ್ದೈತಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಬೀಳಿ ಬಿಡು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಂಗಿಲ್ಲ.
At the bottom of the stairs you see a small tree, and then as you climb up you start seeing more of the tree, and then there's a low wall at the end, and then the more you climb you see the mountains in the distance, and then suddenly when you come to the end of the courtyard you see the wall, and then there's a sudden drop in the lake. That was like totally unexpected.
How this would help us in the future is perhaps we saw what measurement would facilitate what kind of activity in that space. So we documented it, we observed it, we stayed 2 days there, and now we know that if there's a podium of a certain size, then maybe during the day some sort of activity could happen there. And if we wanted to recreate that activity in one of our designs, we know what size of podium to put in front of the house.
Not only does it go to the intangible elements of identification of a space, but also the physical measurements of a space, which is very important for them to visualize properly what kind of a space that they want to design or evolve. Or when somebody talks about a closed space, what are the size and proportions of it? What are the other qualities that affect that particular space when you talk about scale and proportion?
The street was called as Nekaravoni, which was also called as Weavers Colony. It had a cattle shed, and which was in the day it was used for domestic activities like washing the clothes, washing the utensils and such, etc. After 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. they started using it for a cattle shed.
They were using for their general gathering space. They washed utensils, they washed their
The most amazing part was the smaller courtyard within the bigger
Yeah.
courtyard.
Which had five small houses in between,
and which is always shaded.
And it was a dead-end street, so it created more privacy compared to other streets.
And also just how spaces affect people and how people can use the same space more efficiently.
And how the activity changes throughout the day depending on the sunlight and the shade and the temperature.
I know they're just in first year and they'll take a lot more years to understand the whole process, but this was an initiation as to appreciate any lifestyle.
We even understood the space utilization of public around. Like we don't want large space for our activities. We could even in limited space also we could practice some of the activities which could be done.
That was the main contributor for their lifestyle and how they shape their lives, the humbleness that they shape people. It all was just because of the narrow of the street and the way they sat along the contours of the street and spoke around.
Overall, this trip meant a lot to us. We learned about an entire new type of geography, an entire new lifestyle of the people there and their houses.
It was beyond just an architectural documentation, so I'm sure they would also learn to appreciate a lot of things eventually when they go on in their lives.
We would definitely continue to encourage the relative study programs right from semester 1 to semester 10 as a way of engaging and as a way of experiencing architecture firsthand. Because learning through experience or learning through being in a place or learning through living in a place is probably the best teacher.
ನಾವು ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೊಲಸು ಮಣ್ಣು ಕಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಈಗ ಕಾಯಿಗೆ ಮಣ್ಣು ಹತ್ತುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ತಿಕ್ಕಾಕ ಮಣ್ಣು ಸಿಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಈಗ. ಅವಾಗ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅದು ಭಾಳ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದು ಚಲೋ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಕಲ್ಲು ಮಣ್ಣು ಸಿಮೆಂಟು ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಜಂತಿ ಜೋಡಿಸೋದು, ಮ್ಯಾಗ ಹಾಳೆ ಹಾಕೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ಮಣ್ಣು ಹಾಕೋದು, ಕೊಂಬಿ ಕಟ್ಟೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ಹರ್ಕುರ್ಕಿ ಮಣ್ಣು ಹತ್ತು ಸಿಗ್ತೈತೆ, ಆ ಮಣ್ಣು ಹಾಕೋದು. ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ತಟಕ್ಕೆ ಬೀಳ್ತೈತಿ ಯಾವಾಗಾರ ತೂತು ಬಿದ್ದರೆ. ಈಗ ಈ ತಂಪಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಸಿಲಿಗೆ ಇದ ಶಿಷ್ಟಾದ ಮನೆ ರೀ. ಅವು 100 ವರ್ಷದಾಗ ಮುಗಿತಾಯಿನ ಹಾಕಾವು, ಇವು ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ದೌಡ್ ಮುಪ್ಪಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಮನೆ. ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಹಂಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ ಹಂಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ. ಉದ್ದಾರ